We are back, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Here we are again with another episode of the Forgotten and Unknown albums, and this is our second episode for 1989. So we got three choices here for you today, and we got some good ones. We got some heavy ones. We got some all within the glam, hair, sleaze metal realm of 1989. So the first one here comes off of Arista Records, and that is going to be the self-titled Babylon AD album. So this one here, it did reach the top 88, I believe, of the top 200 Billboard charts. And, this is an awesome album, first and foremost. But I will say, definitely it got overlooked. It is something, I will never understand this, that how it got overlooked, other than maybe just a smaller label and just didn't really get the push it needed. But at the same time, you had a single off of here, The Kid Goes Wild, that had a music video, but also it was in the soundtrack of RoboCop 2, and RoboCop was in the music video as well. So you would think that would have helped with a little something as far as promotion goes. And also, Sam Kinison is in the song. He has a part in the song of just like yelling, "Hey, you fucking cops, if you're going to take me, you ain't going to take me alive. Pull that gun, you better fucking use it." That kind of shit, Sam Kinison shit, which is awesome. And you think with that kind of like firepower of that time, Sam Kinison was the shit. Still is the shit, but back then he was it. He was the man. And then RoboCop, the first movie did pretty well. Now the second one, you know, consensus wise, RoboCop 2 didn't do very well and isn't very well. But at the same time, it should have helped propel this album. But you also had another single here, "Bang Go the Bells." Absolutely awesome. Has to be in the top 50 songs of hair metal in general, in my opinion. And then you got track number 2, "Hammer Swings Down." Very good, in the same vein as Bang Go the Bells. Third track, one of my favorites off this album, "Caught Up in the Crossfire." Really good. I just love how the song starts. That isolated kind of like drum hit. Now Derek Davis sounds really good on this album. Very, somewhat distinctive too. But the whole band sounds really good. The guitar playing's really good. Drumming, like I said, in "Caught Up with the Crossfire" really stands out. And you got track number 4, "Desperate," which is a ballad. It should have been a hit ballad. Now Baton Rouge did end up doing it on their second album, covering it in 1991, "Lights Out in the Playground." And I like that version too. I love Baton Rouge. I like Baton Rouge's version, but I prefer Babylon AD's version. A little bit more edgier and a little bit more guitar work throughout it. I like the guitar tone a little better as well on the Babylon AD version. But still, really good. Either one's really good, but check out Babylon AD's first and foremost. And then, like I said, track number 5, "Kid Goes Wild." This is, because you got 10 tracks on here. This is a hell of a side number 1. I don't know. Can you find me a better side in 1980 and 1989 than Babylon AD's debut album, the first 5 tracks? Can you find me? I'm sure off the top of my head, I'm kind of drawing a blank, but I'm sure there might be one or two out there, but it's not, I don't think it would be that common, honestly. Let me know in the comments what you think. But now going on to the second side of the album, you got "Shot of Love," "Marianne," and two really good ones, "Back in Babylon," a little bit heavier on the bass side there, just a chunkier little bit of a riff groove to it. "Sweet Temptation," track number 9, more upbeat, fun type song in the chorus. And then you got track number 10, "Sally Danced." Very good album, sweet, to the point, 10 tracks. And that is always what we like to point out here on the channel, is that, anything over like 11 tracks, it's very hard to keep, your casual fans' attention. And it's more chances to have filler on the album as well. And I have to say, Babylon AD's debut, no filler. Now, when you get to 1992 and their second album, "Nothing Sacred," not as good as this. but it is good. Still worth checking out. Still worth picking up if you can find it. And then obviously they did. If you guys seen my review, I will put the review to Babylon AD's brand new album that came out this year. Rome wasn't built in a day, right here, and it's really good. It's right up there with the original run of stuff. And I just can't talk. One of my favorite albums of this year so far. Spoiler alert. So if you want to know anything else about that album, just click right there. And you also had Jack Ponty being involved in like Bon Jovi, Keel, Bonfire. Yeah, the list keeps going on. Alice Cooper. It's just crazy. Like he seems to be everywhere during the 80s. But nonetheless, guys, check out Babylon AD's first album from 1989. You will not be disappointed, especially if you like that edgier hair metal, a little bit more of a rawer sound to it, with limited ballads, if you will. Only like maybe one, but maybe two, you could argue, on here. But very good stuff nonetheless. And if Sam Kinnison's on the album, and so Sam Kinison had to approve of Babylon AD, I would imagine, and or he wouldn't be on it. That just that should tell you enough right there, and that's the winning ticket in my opinion. If Sam Kinison says that's cool, that band's cool, I'm gonna give it a shot. So, but yeah, guys, check out Babylon AD. All right, guys, for our second choice here, we had the somewhat mysterious Hags with their self-titled album. Now, this one here is released off another smaller label, Chrysalis, I believe is how you say it. Now, 11 tracks. And the reason why I said mysterious Hags is that this is a one and done band. They released this album and pretty much broke up before the tour even really started. They didn't really only had a couple shows, if that, at the time. And now there was drugs involved. This band was into drugs.
What?
And that was a big reason for the breakup and just the one and done type deal. And now, like I said, I think I remember seeing a video for either the halfway valley or someday. I can't remember which one it was, but either way, this band kind of like I don't like to do a lot of comparisons of bands, but this does kind of remind me a little bit of a band like Love Hate mixed with Nasty Idols or Spread Eagle type deal. Very edgy, slight punkish feel to it on some of these songs. But I had this album since I was probably like 15, 16, 17. And I was never the biggest fan of this album. Still I still like it. I enjoy it, but it's not gonna make like a top 50 album, hair metal or sleaze metal album for me. Now, which I know a lot of people that do know this album absolutely love it, and there's great songs on here, great stuff. But for me though, I think with 11 tracks, I think I could probably take a couple of these off. But the reason why it's on this video or in this series is because it is unknown, it is forgotten, and it needs to be talked about. Nonetheless, even though it doesn't make a top 50 list for me, it still needs to be talked about and still has great stuff throughout. And it's just a shame that drugs did kind of get in the way here of this band because, they did it. There's good stuff here. And like I said, they did have one music video, I believe. I remember seeing some kind of music video for one of these songs. And I believe it's Half the Way to Valley, which is the leadoff track. Doghouse, really good. Too Much T-Bone, a mid-tempo groovy type song. Very good, catchy. Same thing with Someday as well. Another groovy type deal. But then again, after you get done with like the first half of the album, flip it over to side 2, it gets a little just okay for me. Probably my favorite song off of side 2 is Misfortune. Pretty cool. I like the beat, the groove to it. There are groovy songs on here. There are groovy parts, groovy riffs, groovy bass lines. Like same thing with Love Hate and Nasty Idols. Think of maybe a little bit more groovier Nasty Idols, if you will. So, but nonetheless, though, I mean, there's not too much information that I can really give you guys on this album per se. Very, very kind of mysterious, like I said, at the beginning here. It's just a mysterious thing. You don't hear too much about this band. They did try to reform somewhat in 91, but I believe the singer ended up passing away. I think it was like pneumonia or drug related. I forget exactly what it is. Like you don't hear too much about it. Or just too much about Sea Hags in general. So it had something to do with that. And then after that, they were just kind of like, we're done here. And then 1991, as you guys all know, the no fun metal started coming in as far as like alternative and grunge and such like that. So I was like, whatever. I guess we'll go do different projects now. So yeah, guys, check out Sea Hags if you like that more sleazy, certainly sleazy, and a slightly punk edge to it, and with a very good edge.
Hey, Paul here from Paul Lydell's Scream Therapy, and you're watching the Crash Course Metal Show with Trevor Crash Knight.
Alrighty, guys, for our last pick here in this video, we are going with 1989's, obviously, Nitro's O.F.R.
Hey, now you speak my language here.
Now, this one here is a super fun one as far as the craziness, the absolute sheer mind blowingness of vocals and guitar work in general, and just as a band too. Drumming from Bobby Rock, Jim Gillette vocals, Michael Angelo on the guitars, and then also you have TJ Racer on bass. There is so much here packed into these 9 tracks. It is absolutely crazy. Now, I like to give a little bit of a comparison when I talk about this album. I like to say, if anyone's familiar with Vinnie Vincent's debut album, think of it like this, but times the Vinnie Vincent album by 100, and this is what you get. You get Nitro's Out Fucking Rages. It's called Out Fucking Rages for a reason, guys. And I mean, look at Michael Angelo's 4-neck guitar. Absolutely crazy. And just good stuff all the way around. It did reach the top 140 in the top 200 Billboard charts, but it's only stayed there for like 6 weeks, so it didn't really do too much. It did have 2 music videos, though. Freight Train, which is an absolute banger of a song, and then also the ballad Long Way From Home, which is actually a really good ballad considering that these guys don't really, I don't want to say put too much melodic stuff in their music, because there is some melodic stuff in here, but generally speaking, for Nitro, a lot of it's fast, a lot of it's heavy, and especially for like a glam style band, like it's an extreme glam band, if you will. But you get Jim Gillette's absolutely crazy high vocals, just one of the best. It's probably a top 3 vocalist in all of metal, honestly. Like he could probably, like, the only one that I could probably think like that would throw up against them just to see how they would do would be like Michael, the Steelheart singer, and then Michael Sweet as well. I would like to see in their primes, like what they could do, like a sing off, if you will. But like those are like the only 2 that I could really kind of give a comparison to for Jim Gillette. I mean, for Christ's sakes, he does a 30-second yell for the 3rd track, Machine Gun Eddie. It's like when he does that, everyone's like, all right, everyone needs to back the fuck up and realize what's going on here in this song. Now, granted, the song isn't probably the best, I would say. Probably one of my least favorite songs on the album, but still really good. But after he does that, it has a really good groove, slow groove in the beginning, and when he does his vocal. But then obviously it goes into like a very fast, like there's even like elements of like speed metal on this album. It's super fast. And that's another thing too, which is crazy too, because you have Bobby Rock on here, which he did end up going to do Nelson too, drumming for Nelson on the debut album. He was also a part of Vinnie Vincent too. So like that could be a little bit of a connection there too. I never really thought of as to why I like to compare the Vinnie Vincent album to O.F.R, because it's like a bigger brother, or the more badass brother of a badass brother to begin with, because the debut album of Vinnie Vincent is just absolutely crazy and awesome in its own right. But this, like I said, it's like just like times 100 or times 10 that, and just really good. So this is technically their first album, Nitro's first album, but they did do, like, Jim Gillette did have a somewhat like a solo album before this, which is actually really good. but it did have like pretty much all of the guys, I think, except for Bobby Rock on his solo album, like a year or two before this. Good stuff on there too. But you got here Freight Train opening track right from the start. You know shit's getting real. Shit's gonna get fucked up when you're listening to this album. Just from that first song right there. Double Trouble, really good. Machine Gun Eddie, like I said, Jim's vocals, absolutely crazy there in the first like minute or so. But then it goes into like a speed metal style song. And Jim's vocals go down real low, almost like to a growl a little bit, but you can still like understand it's still like clear for the most part. Then you got track number 4, Long Way From Home, the ballad, which is an interesting thought because, you know, every time I talk about this album, either like Chris Elliott or whoever I'm talking to it with, they kind of feel like the ballad is like kind of somewhat forced on here. Not that it's a bad song, they say, but it's just kind of like if you're targeting the ballad for like the women, I don't know if women, or like generally speaking, the women are gonna be like, oh man, I love the rest of this album too, because I don't know, that'd be a tough sell. So it's like, but then again, when you get like the heavier metalhead guys, they're like, oh fuck the ballad, you know, like, so like where are you kind of like pushing the ballad to, like, and for? But I love the ballad. I don't give a shit. I absolutely, I think they did a very well job with Long Way From Home because, like I said, they're doing elements of speed metal here, extreme like glam metal, hard sleazy shit, and real technical shit too. And I think the ballad's good for what it is. It's really good. So you go on to side number 2. You got Bring It Down, Nasty Reputation. Nasty Reputation is a fun one. Fighting Mad, another fast one there. Shot Her Around the World. You know, yeah, Jim gets his high vocals obviously here in this one too, but I remember it distinctly. And then track number 5, the title track, O.F.R. How fucking rageous. What do you think they do on that track? They go fucking crazy. So, guys, I mean, if you like the extreme, like if you like the heaviness of like the heavier style elements that hair metal bands bring to the hair metal genre or the sleaze metal genre, etc., check out Nitro. I don't know what the hell you're doing. You're missing out totally if you want something heavy. If you're tired of like, there's really no poppiness in it other than maybe the ballad. But even like the ballad has a decent solo and stuff. Like, but there's really no poppiness at all, no mainstream stuff. So that's another reason why it kind of like fell flat, if you will. Because even like Freight Train, possibly the most mainstream digestible song other than the ballad, and like it didn't really take off, you know. And but nonetheless, they look great, they look awesome, they look badass, they look ready to fuck shit up, and the music proves it too with the technicality and the heaviness. Yeah, guys. So if you want something crazy and out fucking rageous, look no further than O.F.R. from Nitro. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up my 3 choices here. So, like I said, we had O.F.R. from Nitro, we had Hags, self-titled, and then we also had Babylon AD, self-titled. So check these albums out, guys. And thank you so much for watching. If you guys like us bringing the unknown and forgotten metal to you, we love doing it. And it's just a shame that these bands didn't get bigger than what they are. And that's just what we like to talk about here. You know, we love bringing it to hopefully get a little bit more recognition for them. And that's what the goal here is on the channel. And we love to have you in the community and talk great music. So, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what you think of these 3 albums, and then also what you think other unknown and forgotten albums are from 1989 in the whole metal genre.
Talk to me.
So quite interested to see what you guys have to say about that. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Stay out of that collateral damage. And if you guys enjoyed this video, check out this one right here.